Hi Akshita,
Hi Mukund, how you doing?
I'm fine. Welcome back. So yesterday's session was great, right?
Yes, it was amazing. How did you guys like it? We have 9 people watching us. That's nice. Can we have people jumping in? Let's just wait for them meanwhile. So, Mukund, how are you doing?
I'm great. What about you?
I'm doing good as well. Thank you. Well, let's just have people write down what courses they've completed and how far have they gone, how many batches have they earned especially during this time period. So, guys, just drop in how many batches you guys have earned. What's your track till? Where have you guys completed in the Android Slide Jam session? Did you guys even? How many of you like collected your first batch yesterday? And if any of you could complete the first track, it would be amazing. Whoa, Dhruvi,
Wow.
amazing! 11 batches in one day. That's a great number. Let me tell you that. What do you think, Mukund?
Yes, that's like awesome.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. We will we'll tell you about how to get batches and everything. We'll put the link down, the Android Side Jam session, where you can collect your batches and you can just get started. You get batches on your Google developer profile. It looks amazing. And after the completion of all the batches you've taken and everything done, you do get to collect the certificate from Google developers. So, can we have more people write down how? What about other people? Is this Ruby who completed all the 11, most of it?
Like I'm sure there would be more people, right?
Yes, I'm waiting for them. Guys. Okay, so what do you guys, Mukund, what do you think? How many batches can you do in a day?
Like if I like complete like give my 6 hours a day, I think I should be able to do 10 batches, I think. And the tracks are quite easy, they are not that difficult. Yes.
Yep. Okay, so how far have you gone? Like,
So like I have completed a few tracks, but I was making this app and I got stuck somewhere. Like my
okay.
app was a bit resource heavy, and I was not able to like bring down that usage of memory. Right, my app was lagging a bit. So have you got any idea how I can manage that?
Yes, I have. Do we have people in the chat who are facing the same issue like Mukund faced? Did any of you come to any hurdles? Okay, I think Mukund, I do have an answer for you. Have you heard of coroutines?
Sorry.
Have you heard about coroutines? I think I cut out.
Yes, I have heard about core routines, but I like don't know what they are and how they work.
Well, don't worry about that. We've still got you covered. We have you heard of Bilal Khan, the Google developer expert at Android?
Sure, like I have heard of him. Like he's a phenomenal Android developer, and he also has this amazing YouTube channel called Learning. Right, he's the founder of Simplified Learning, where there are like quite a good number of coding videos, and they are quite helpful too.
Yes, we do. Yes, he's an amazing person. Let me tell you. Oh, there's one person who's heard of coroutines. That's nice. Well, we have Bilal Khan here for a surprise for everyone. It's amazing to have him here with us today. So, we have Bilal Khan. He'll be answering all your questions on coroutines. Welcome,
Hi
sir,
guys.
to this amazing
Yeah.
Android side session. We're glad to have you here.
Okay, so before we start, can anyone tell me like what is coroutine? I'm waiting for the comments.
Guys, drop in your comments.
Okay, so no one wants to answer. Okay, leave it. So today we will discuss what is coroutine, why we need it, and how we can use it in our project. Okay, so I will just share my presentation. How do I come my presentation screen? Okay. So my topic is Kotlin coroutines on Android. Okay. So the first question, that is, what is coroutine? So coroutine is a concurrency design pattern that we can use to simplify asynchronous code in our Android projects. Now, I would like to know that how many of you have written some kind of asynchronous code in your project? Can I get the answers, please, on the chat? So it will be helpful to explain that why we need coroutines and what is the problem with the existing async patterns that we use without coroutines. So I hope that you know what is asynchronous programming and how do we handle it in our project without coroutines. But before jumping to coroutines, let's see the features of coroutines. So coroutines are lightweight. We can call multiple coroutine in a single thread. That makes them lightweight. Coroutines also prevent memory leaks because the cancellation is automatic and we do not need to worry about canceling the coroutines. And finally, coroutine has the first class support of Jetpack components. So it becomes very easy to use coroutines with Jetpack components. Now we know what is coroutine and what are the features of it. And now we will try to understand the problem without coroutines. So what is async? One comment I got. So async means executing something in the background. And when we execute something in the background, have you, any one of you, written code to call an API in the background? So we need to understand this. Like in our Android project, we often make API calls. So we use backend APIs in our application. And for example, we have the login system in our application. So what we do is we hit a backend API, we provide the email and the password, and we process the thing in the backend, like whether the user is successfully authenticated or not. So when we do something in backend, what we do is we make a function and we make the API calls inside the function. So this is just a dummy function that's supposed to call a backend API that will log in the user. So the function name is make login request, and it is a very simple function and it will hit the backend API. So I hope you all are familiar with HTTP URL connection. So the function that I'm showing here is correct. We don't have any problem. The only problem that we have is we cannot call this function in the main thread. So if you try to call this function in the main thread, you will get an exception and your application will crash, saying that you cannot perform a network operation in the main thread. Now, why it happens? Because when we hit an API, it is a heavy operation and it will consume some time to execute. Now, if we execute this thing in the main thread, then it will block the main thread for that time. And for that time, our onRow function will not be called. So the user will see the application is freezed and it will crash the application. So that is why we are not allowed to do network operations in the main thread. Now, what we do to make the network operations, we just create a different thread as I am showing you here, and inside that thread we can call the function to perform the network request, correct? But this solution also have a problem. The problem is if we go to a background thread, we execute an API call and we get back the result. Now we need to present the result in our user interface. And the problem here is we are not allowed to access the UI elements inside a different thread. So if you want to update the UI, you need to be inside main thread. If you will try to access the UI elements from a different thread, again, your application will crash. So this is the problem. Now, what is the solution? So before coroutines, this is the solution that we were using. We make API call in a different thread, and then we get the callback in the main thread, and then we update the UI in the callback. So it is kind of okay solution. But the problem here is we may have an out of memory exception because we are using callback method and we can leak the references with the callbacks. So another question here is, are you guys aware about memory leaks? I'm waiting. Okay. So when we leak the memory, it means we have a chunk of memory that is of no use, but it is still referred in the memory. And when it increases, we may get an out of memory exception. And to solve this thing, this memory leak thing, what we can do is we can cancel the subscriptions that we have for our API calls. And the problem with this approach is if you have n number of API calls and callbacks, you need to write the cancel statements n times. Okay, so there is an interesting question like I am a total beginner here who wants to learn Android. Is this for beginners? No. I thought it is for intermediates because you know the basic stuffs and you want to learn some advanced stuffs like making API calls and coroutines is one of the advanced thing to learn. So if things are getting out of your heads, then please tell me. I would try to make things easier if it's possible. So when we make an API call, we can leak the references in the callbacks, and that is why we need to cancel everything. So if you have n number of API calls, you need to write the cancel statement n number of times. So this is a problem. Another major problem with the traditional approach of the API calls is when we have multiple API requests and we need to call APIs one after one. In that case, we need to make chain of callbacks and it is called a callback hell. As you can see here, for 3 calls, we have chained 3 callbacks. So it is very ugly and bad solution. It works, but it is very bad and it is very hard to maintain this kind of code. So this was the problem without coroutines. So I hope you guys understood what is the problem without coroutines. So we have a new concept of making asynchronous calls with coroutines. And the solution is very simple. We just need to add a suspend modifier to the functions that needs to be executed asynchronously. So here I have added the suspend modifier to my function make login request, and suspend means this function can be suspended and resumed without blocking the main thread. So basically we will replace the callback mechanism with suspending functions. Once we hit the API, the function is suspended and the main thread is not blocked. But once the API call is finished and the result is ready, the function resumes from the same point where it was suspended. Awesome, right? So after making our function suspend, we can simply use those functions to make asynchronous operations. So now I will show you a very practical example in Android Studio to show how we can use coroutines in our project to make API calls. Let me share my screen. Uh, okay, so do you guys know about retrofit? Like, have you ever hit a backend API to do something in the backend from your Android application? So if you don't know, retrofit is a library that we use to simplify the networking. And this library also supports coroutines. So what we usually do is we make all our API calls suspend. So this is a function that will hit this API endpoint and will get the response that contains some information about current user. So as we are going to use coroutines, we have the suspend keyword here. That means we need a coroutine scope to execute this function. Now, one thing that you should remember is when we have a suspending function, then we can either call it from another suspending function or a coroutine scope. So if a function is suspending, we cannot call it normally. Either we need another suspending function or a coroutine scope. So we have this function that will fetch the user information from the backend. Now what we do is we create a repository to hit the backend APIs. So here I have my repository that have another suspending function and it is calling the get user function. Now this function is also a suspending function. That is why I am able to make the API call without using a coroutine scope. Now finally, we will call this function from our view model. So again, if you don't know about view model, then it is a normal class where we interact with our repositories to fetch the data. So this is my function that will call the function inside the repository. Now here you can see this is a normal function and not a suspending function. And here we are using a coroutine scope. So we have our default scope, that is view model scope inside view model. And when we use this scope, we do not need to cancel it. It is done automatically. So it is very rare that you will leave memory leaks when you are using view model scopes. So we use this view model scope and we finally call the launch function to call our suspending function. And finally, we are getting the result from here. We are putting it inside a live data. And finally, we are observing the result inside our fragment. So this is how we can easily make network calls using our coroutines. So I think that's it from my side, guys. If you have any question, please leave it about coroutines. So there is a lot of things to learn about coroutines. If you want to learn about it in detail, then I have a playlist in my channel that you can go and refer. That explains basically everything about coroutines for Android.
Okay, sir. I think like that was a great explanation, right? So it certainly did solve my problem, like that I was facing. Uh, I think like we have a like beginners in our Android chat, right? So
Yeah.
any like suggestions like that you could give to them how they can be a better Android developer?
So I think we should start something for beginners. Like it was a little advanced topic, and I think the viewers were kind of beginner. So it is like very advanced thing to understand from the beginner's perspective. So I think you should organize something for beginners first.
Yes, sir. We did have an introductory session yesterday for beginners where we told them about the entire Android study gem, how to use code labs, how to go through the pathways, and video explanations.
Oh,
And okay, there are few people who did complete the track, and few are completely new to this as they missed the first session. I think a few of them did miss the first session. So
okay.
if they go down and watch the videos, I think it'll relate.
Yeah. So
And but
do
it
you
was an
have any
amazing
question?
session, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So if you are working with API calls, then you must use coroutines. Like for API calls, for writing information in files, for example, local database, SQLite room. So for work manager also, you can use coroutines to simplify your asynchronous calls.
We'll take that into consideration, sir. We'll work on it for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yes, guys, if you have any questions down here, do drop it down in the chat. People did enjoy the session. They did say it's a great session. So I
Yeah.
assume they have. That's amazing, Harshit. How many batches did you collect? Okay,
So
we
yes,
have a
so we
So
have.
question.
okay, so that is very straightforward question. Like, of course, Kotlin is better. You just can't develop Android applications nowadays with Java. You have to switch to Kotlin.
So we have a question. It says, yes, what are the best resources to learn Kotlin?
Okay, so here I'll do some self promotion. I am creating a Kotlin course from scratch and I have reached a object oriented programming that you can check on my channel.
So can you show the use of retrofit?
Yeah, I have a playlist for that as well in simplified coding. So you can check. That's very easy. Retrofit versus Volley libraries. Now, I think in 2021 or 2020, Volley is obsolete now. No one uses Volley. So everyone uses retrofit or some other library. So you have to use, you don't use Volley nowadays. Okay, so Volley is outdated. My channel link. Okay, so it is youtube.com/simplified code. We can write that. Yeah, correct. Simplified code.
Yes. Okay, guys, any other questions?
Flutter
So a
versus
question.
now, I am not the right person to answer this because I have not used Flutter yet. So if I will use it, I will tell you for sure.
We had people ask this yesterday as well. Flutter, Kotlin, Java, what do you
It
guys
depends on
prefer?
use case. Personally, I think like if you need to create something for both platforms like iOS and Android, you can go with Flutter and maintain the same code base. But it depends on situation to situation. But I personally never used Flutter, so I don't know how good it is.
Okay, sir. Yes, Harsh did drop in a link. Thank you, Harsh. Guys, questions? So, a question.
I cannot see it.
Okay, just I think. So I'll read it out. It says, if you want to develop file transferring API in Android, then which are the components that we have to implement? He just means to ask how does he develop it.
Okay, then you can transfer files either Wi-Fi or over Bluetooth, I think, or do you want to transfer over the internet? So you have three options, I think: Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and over the internet. Can coroutines be be disadvantageous, not
Disadvantages,
the
not the
best to
best
use
use.
sometimes? It depends on your use case, but most of the times we work with either room database or remote database. So in any of those cases, you have to use um, coroutines. You can choose not to use, but it will make your code very big and hard to maintain, because now we have coroutines. So I don't think there is a reason not to use it.
So he chooses to transfer it over Wi-Fi.
So yeah, that's simple. I cannot explain you the code in this session, but you can search and get some resources about how you can get connected over Wi-Fi programmatically, and you can also transfer files because many applications are doing that. So yeah, that's easy.
Any example of a few applications doing that, sir?
Like we use applications like Zender and Share It. All application uses Wi-Fi to transfer files.
Okay, sir. Let's just wait in for few more minutes, and let's see if we have more questions. Okay, guys, any other questions? If not, we can end the stream. We can,
Yeah.
but it was amazing to have you here, sir. Thank you so much again.
Yeah.
Yes, like it was an huge opportunity like to meet you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I see your videos a lot and they are quite helpful.
Thank you. Okay.
So
So
guys, once more, like I would like to tell that this is an huge opportunity. He's an Google developers expert, right? He's an expert. So like any questions he can answer, like it's a huge opportunity for
Yeah.
you.
okay, we have another question. What are your views about RX Kotlin library? Like, you don't need to use it if you are using coroutines, because we have everything with coroutines, and actually coroutines are made to replace RX Java and RX Kotlin. So coroutines are better, less learning curve, and very easy to use. Another question is, what should be the first project for internship? Now, you can choose any project, like clone some easy applications from Play Store. Can we call API without library? Yeah, of course. You need to use HTTP URL connection that I showed in the code snippet. But it will make your job very harder. Like, you need to write a lot of code to just make a simple API call. For user authentication, Firebase is good, or other options. It depends on your application's requirement. Like, if you are going to use Firebase authentication, you will do it very quickly. Like, everything is already done. You just need to use Firebase SDK. But if you want to make your own authentication, then you need to make APIs authenticate your users on the backend and then do it on the Android side. So it depends. If you want to use Firebase, then all the data will be at Firebase's side. So it is not yours. But if you host your backend API separately, then you are the owner of it. So every case has their own pros and cons. So you need to choose what you want to choose.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Well, there are a few people interested. in a few motivational quotes. Okay, yes.
Okay, can you read out your backside photo lines? I haven't failed. I have just found 10,000 ways that don't work. And
By
one more.
Einstein, I think.
Whether you think you can or you think you cannot, both ways you are right.
Amazing lines.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we should end the session.
Yes, I think
Yes.
we have no more questions from people, so I think we can end it now.
Okay. Nice to meet you guys. Thank you for calling me.
Uh, Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving us the opportunity to interact with you. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
also,
Akshita, what I would like to say, like we did have a question at the beginning who was asking about how to collect batches. So, like, if you don't mind, you can show it, right?
yes, we can. So give me a second. Think we. I'll just pull up the slides on how they have to go about. Okay, just let me know when my screen would be visible. Just start screen sharing. Um, what is it visible?
Mm, no, yes, it's visible now.
Okay, so I'm just going to do a short review on what we did yesterday. I do recommend all the new people to go down and view the previous videos on this channel and go through them. Look at this for an entire thing, but I'll just give a brief summary on how to collect batches. So, okay, so there are pathways on every track you have. So on the pathways, every pathway has certain units. Like the first pathway has 4 units, as you can see here, and each unit has certain activity. And they have videos, they have code labs, they have quizzes. So you can start here and collect your very first batch. You can just go to this link g.co/android/study jams, collect your very first batch. It's available now. I don't not sure till when it's available. I think it's still 25th Jan. So yes, we have the neuroprogramming track, which we did suggest you guys to complete it beforehand. And okay, so if you have any doubts when you're going through this course, what you can do is you can go to Android Study Jams. There's a place where you can ask questions and post your questions there and have the community answer it for you. Yes. So, there are certain badges you earn after every step. Like you just start, you just make an account there, you earn a badge, you start, you complete a pathway, you earn a badge, you complete a quiz. You have to earn badges, you basically to complete quizzes, you have to complete a video lesson, you have to complete a few code labs. And I think we did explain how to use code labs and everything in the previous video. I really suggest you guys to go down and view those videos and you will get a view on how to use it. Well, I'll just show you on, okay. So this is the Android the basic level course. So the pathway, it consists, as you can see, the pathway consists of a video lesson. And in the video lessons, then you have a code labs. And after code labs and the videos, you have a quiz. So that quiz tells you where you actually stand currently. Like how much knowledge to gain from this certain unit, and how where do you lack. So you can go back, review it, learn again, and come back and be better. See, here you take a quiz. You have MCQs, like you have one-time answers, or you have multiple choice answers. And once you're done, you pass the quiz, you earn a badge. So this is how you earn badges. And oh, that's nice, because she has done badge. He has earned badges. And guys, how many of you earned badges? Oh, you can always start. It's a great time to start always. You can start anytime. So just what's the wait for? The link's here. Click on the link, get started, earn your very first badge by making an account. In the starting, we did have one who she earned around 11 badges in one go. So Dhruvi Kulkarni had earned around 12 badges. So yes, guys, let's get started. If you guys have any other questions, do post down. Thank you, Kushi. Your comments appreciated. Thank you so much, Pat. Guys, any other questions? Mukund, do we have any other questions?
I think like it's fine. Like we have
Okay.
like the audience is saying like the session was awesome and uh,
Can you do live coding session for an app? Appreciated and taken. We will soon. Just stay tuned. We'll have more sessions coming up. We have 2 more sessions coming up for you guys. So stay tuned and just, yes. Yes, we do. Okay, so how about, okay, if you guys, any other questions, like you want us to, any other suggestions, we are doing a live coding session, so do stay tuned for that. We'll be posting about it in your DSCs. You'll be having posters coming down for that. So yes, and any other suggestions, any other things you want us to do for you? We can have you guys, if you want us to do a live Q&A session where you guys post your queries, and we can do that as well. Or you can also reach out to your DSCs and you can ask them if they have anything planned for you. Like your DSCs, you can ask them individually, or you can ask your questions when we are live. Or you can ask, if you want us to do a Q&A, we can do that as well. Right, Mukund?
yeah, definitely.
Okay. I think that's it for today.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. So thank you so much, guys, for being here. It was amazing to have you all here. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I do hope you all did take a lot from the session. Thank you so much for being here again, and goodbye. Namaste. Have a good day.